Then the next one's going to go to Matt. Matt, the description of the killer.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about day one descriptions. This is what was said on the day of the assassination about the Tippit killer. Not later. This is day one descriptions, all right? Okay, at 1:22 p.m., Officer Walker announced over the radio that the Tippit suspect was a, quote, white male about 30, 5'8", black hair, slender, wearing a white jacket, white shirt, and dark slacks. And that is volume 17, page 410. But Oswald was 24, brown hair, didn't own a white jacket, and wore a brown shirt. Let's go on. At 1:37 p.m., 15 minutes later, Officer Summers reported over the radio that a, quote, eyeball witness told him the killer was, quote, a white male, 27, 5'11", 165 pounds, black wavy hair, wear dark trousers, and a white shirt. But Oswald was 24, 5'9", 135 pounds, brown hair, and wearing a brown shirt. Sergeant Hill, he testified, quote, and for Officer Summers, that was volume 17, page 416. Sergeant Hill, he testified, quote, the first man that came up to me, he said, the man that shot him was a white male, about 5'10", weighing 160 to 170 pounds, had on a jacket and a pair of trousers, brown, bushy hair. But Oswald was 135 pounds and had receding hair. Shall I go on? Officers Poe and Jez, their report from that day says that the killer had, quote, bushy hair, wearing a brown jacket. That's in the Dallas Municipal Archives. But Oswald had receding hair and didn't own a brown jacket. Witness Helen Markham, she told the FBI that day that the killer was, quote, 18, black hair, red complexion. That's CD5, page 79. This couldn't have been Oswald, who was 24, brown hair, pale complexion. Now, I could literally go on and not stop giving you descriptions of the killer.
Well, a couple things.
If we can finish, that do not match Oswald. So, okay?
Well, I mean, you've seen Oswald's. You've seen the famous photograph of Oswald in custody, sitting down in the chair with he's handcuffed and his hair's all, quite honestly, bushy. I can definitely see how Oswald's at that moment could be described as having bushy hair. By the way, you mentioned the reports on the police tapes by Walker and also by Summers. Are you familiar with the witnesses who gave these descriptions to these two particular police officers? Do you know who the witnesses are? Matt?
Yeah, I'm here. Go on.
Who gave the description to Walker?
That was Warren Reynolds.
Right. And who gave the description to Summers?
Calloway.
Okay, just making sure you knew. So why didn't you mention, you realize that Calloway said that the suspect was wearing a Eisenhower type jacket.
Yep.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And let me ask you one other question. And quite honestly, I wish that we could look up some legal case reviews, but how often do you think that one man alone robs a convenience store and there's the clerk as well as three customers in the convenience store, and they give four totally different descriptions to the police of what this man looked like as far as height, weight, age, hair color, hair description? You realize that, I mean, I can look this up when we're done, but I guarantee you it's at least half the time. Police officers, if they interview 3 or 4 witnesses, they're getting 3 or 4 different descriptions, yet they all saw the same man. So you're talking about, you just now gave these descriptions, and these descriptions that you just now read off are different from one description to the next, right?
No.
What's that?
No. These are days. So what you just said about, the whole, eyewitnesses and everything, so that's an excuse. I know that's what everyone throws out whenever, they don't have an answer for this. But no, what I read you was day one descriptions.
And that's fine. Okay, so do me a favor, if you don't mind. Can you read the Walker description and the Summers description again?
White male, about 30, black hair, wearing a white jacket, white shirt, and dark slacks. It's volume 17, page 410. But again, as I said, Oswald was 24, brown hair, didn't own a white jacket, and wore a brown shirt. Not Oswald.
And what about Summers?
Summers told it, it says right here, a white male, 27, 5'11", 165 pounds, black wavy hair, white shirt. But Oswald was 24, 5'9", 135 pounds, brown hair, and wearing a brown shirt. I could literally go on forever on these descriptions, and I'm waiting.
Yeah. Now the Walker report. Did he give the height? If he did, I missed it. What was the height?
The height was 5'8".
That's what I thought. So are you telling me that Calloway and Warren Reynolds saw two different men?
No.
All right. Well, then you're proving my case. So basically, Warren Reynolds is telling Walker that the guy was 5'8", about 30 years old, and Ted Calloway is telling Summers the guy was 27 and 5'11", 5'11". So you're proving my case that this two different witnesses can describe one man in two different manners. It doesn't mean a thing. It literally means nothing.
So the only thing right in there is the height of what Officer Walker said. So everything else does.
But you just told me that you believe that Calloway and Warren Reynolds saw the same man, and you just now gave me a description that Warren Reynolds gave to Walker and that Ted Calloway gave to Summers.
So the only thing that matches is white male and the height for Walker. Whoop-de-doo. Okay.
So one witness has the guy 5'11", the other witness has the guy 5'8".
Yeah. So
one witness has the guy 30 years old, the other witness has the guy 27 years old. All right.
Yeah.
You're proving you don't understand what I'm saying here. You're proving my point that these two guys saw the same man, yet they described him differently. So therefore, if we know that two witnesses can describe the same man completely different, then what's it matter?
They're not describing him differently. They both said he was wearing black hair. They both said he was almost 30.
No, they didn't. No. One said he was.
White shirt.
One said he was about 30. One said he was 27. One said he was 5'11". One said he was 5'8". My point is that two witnesses saw the same man and described him differently. It happens all the time, and it means absolutely nothing. And one other thing, you said that Oswald didn't own a white jacket.
Mm-hmm. Didn't own a white jacket.
Have you read Marina Oswald's Warren Commission testimony? I'm sure you have, right?
Yep.
She was shown Warren Commission Exhibit 162. Now that is the jacket. And she was asked if that was Lee's, and she said yes.
No, she said that's Lee's old shirt.
It doesn't matter. She was shown 162 and said it was Lee's, correct?
Again, it doesn't matter to you, but it matters to me. The evidence, this matters.
Warren Commission Exhibit 162 is not an old shirt. She was shown Warren Commission Exhibit 162, and she said that was Lee's.
She said that was Lee's old shirt.
Correct. She said it was Lee's, and it was Warren Commission Exhibit 162. It doesn't matter if it was especially in her Russian language translation, shirt, jacket, it doesn't matter. She was shown Warren Commission Exhibit 162, and she said it belonged to Lee. These are facts that you can't change.
I give her again, she lives 15 minutes away from me, so but anyway, I'm
just saying, you said that Oswald didn't own a white jacket. You said that 5 minutes ago. And according to Marina Oswald, you most certainly did, because she identified Warren Commission Exhibit 162 as belonging to Lee.
Are you done?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, and I think anyone gives her very little credibility because she changed.
So now you're just making excuses.
Better let me finish, brother.
But you're just making excuses.
No, I'm not making excuses.
Come on. You are talking over each other, so
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, there have been lists made I mean, this is a basic fact, how unreliable she is. I mean, literally, there's almost every topic she changed her story in 1963 and 1964, and over the decades, over the past 50 plus years. So no, she's the least credible witness. So the only thing to, and we're talking about the jacket right now. We're talking about the descriptions of the killer. So if I can go on, and it's not an excuse. Everyone
It is. It is. When Warren Commission Exhibit 162 is put right in front of you, and you're asked if this belongs to your husband, and you say yes, and then 57 years later, 58 years later almost, someone doesn't like that answer, they're going to dismiss it. That's an excuse.
She didn't say yes. She said that's Lee's old shirt. It's not a shirt. It's a jacket. But anyway, let's move on again. Like I said, I can go on forever with these descriptions. Let's go to the closest witness, Donnie Benavides. He was 15 feet away, okay? He gave a very detailed description of the killer. Okay? Let me read it to you. He said that the killer was, quote, and again, he's 15 feet away in his pickup truck. He said that the killer was, quote, 5'11", had a complexion a little bit darker than average, a little bit ruddier than mine. Now, he's Mexican-American, so he said ruddier than mine, so that's important. Had dark hair that was a little bit curly, and he looked like he needed a haircut for about 2 weeks with the hairline that sort of went square instead of tapered off in the back. And that is volume 6, pages 450 to 451. That's closest that is not Oswald. That's a very detailed description.
Oswald was wearing a jacket when he shot Tippit, a jacket that had a collar on it. Nobody could possibly describe whether Oswald's collar line was tapered or squared. It looked squared to Benavides because Oswald had a collar. Simple as that.
And he didn't describe his collar. He wasn't describing his collar.
He said the hairline was squared instead of tapered.
Yeah, hairline.
And to a guy wearing a hairline is he's talking about the collar line in the back is what he's talking about. That was squared instead of tapered. So a jacket with a collar is going to make somebody could have a mullet and it's going to look like squared when the jacket is on and the collar is outside of the hair. You don't know what the hairline looks like underneath the collar. Benavides saw the jacket, he saw the collar, he saw the hairline blocked off by the collar. The collar made it appear squared off.
So you're assuming this based on assuming that was the jacket that's in evidence, right?
Yeah, because that's what the evidence tells me.
You're not assuming that, taking into consideration that this was another guy and that he could see the back of his head.
Was the killer wearing a jacket? If it was Oswald or not, was the killer wearing a jacket, Matt?
Yes.
Okay, then it doesn't matter whether we're talking about the jacket in evidence or if we're talking about Oswald. We're talking about a killer wearing a jacket with a collar that could make him appear to have a squared off collar line in the back of his neck.
Again, I just read you this very detailed description, which does not match Oswald. I mean,
okay, so now we have Calloway, Reynolds, and Benavides given 3 different descriptions, and they all 3 are talking about the same guy nevertheless. So what does it matter when people can give different descriptions? I go back to my convenience store scenario. If people can give different descriptions of a suspect, then why do you want to take one and rule it out in favor of the others? You have to do that. Otherwise, you got to say they're talking about 3 different men.
Again,
Reynolds, Calloway, and Benavides.
Again, you're making excuses. I read you directly from his sworn testimony, the closest witness. This does not match Oswald. He testified, quote, "I got a very good look. He said it twice at the killer. Right. And he gave this description, which I just said, and it does not match Oswald.
Do you know that? So listen to this. All right. That evening, the Dallas police sent officers to pick up Sam Ginyard, Ted Calloway, and Domingo Benavides. All 3 guys worked at the same place, to take them downtown to attend a lineup to see if they could identify the man they saw. Calloway and Ginyard went because they felt like they saw the guy well enough to make and identification if they were to see him in the lineup. You are aware that Benavides literally told the police that evening, "Hey, I'm not going downtown because I didn't get a good enough look at the guy to make an identification."
No, that's absolutely no. I knew you were going to say that. No, in his testimony, he said, "I got a good look, a very good look."
Matt, on November 22nd, 1963, he declined going to a lineup because he didn't feel like he got a good enough look at the guy.
That's what was
claimed.
Why he
didn't go to a
lineup. That's what was claimed, but that's not what was true. And first of all, as I said,
how are you going to prove that that's not the truth? That's what he says.
You better let me finish. Okay. So in his testimony, he said, "I got, quote, a good look." Again, very good look at the killer. He gave this massive description that I just read you. So anyway,
then why would he turn down going to a lineup on November 22nd?
I'm glad you asked that. That is what is claimed. That's what is claimed, but that's not what is the truth. In 1960,
how do you know that's not the truth? Show me what you've seen, which proves that Benavides was never asked to attend a lineup.
You done?
Yeah, I want you to show me where it shows.
I'm trying to, but you keep talking.
Well, I'm asking you to show me, so show me.
Glad you asked. So in 1966, Mark Lane and Emil. I'm stuttering, Chris. You can take this out, right?
Yes.
Okay, it's the 39-minute mark. Sorry, Bill. I'm stuttering.
All right.
Let me take that. Okay, so in 1966, Mark Lane and Emil D'Antonio caught up with Donnie. They caught up with him and asked him whether he could identify the man who killed Tippit. Benavides replied, quote, "Of course. I was 10 or 15 feet away. Of course I could. I told that to the Dallas police, but they did not bring me to the lineup." That's amazing. So the Warner Report quotes him as saying, "Oh, he said he couldn't get a good enough identification, so he declined to go to the lineup." But no, if you read his testimony, he said, I got a good look, very good look at the killer. And he gave this massive description, which I just read you. And he says, quote, "Yes, of course I could identify him, but they didn't bring me to the lineup." And
he was asked to attend the lineup, but he declined, Matt.
No, I just read to you his words. That's what was claimed. But if you this is what's important. You have to actually, never trust what a document or a report says. You always have to it's always good to ask the actual eyewitness.
I agree.
Is this true? And they went to him in Dallas, and they said, "Could you identify the man?" Because he says, "Yes, of course I could. I was 15 feet away." And to add to it, Mark Lane writes in his 1966 Playboy magazine interview, quote, "He told me that on November 22nd, he told the Dallas police that the man who killed Officer Tippit was short and somewhat heavy." After he gave this description of, so also short and heavy. And we can get to that.
Okay, well, hold on a second now.
We can also talk about that right now if you want, short and heavy.
So wait a minute now. How come Warren Reynolds didn't tell Walker, or how come Ted Calloway didn't tell Summers that the guy was short and heavy? You've already agreed that all these guys saw the same guy. Yeah. I'm glad. So now you have one guy describes him as short and heavy.
I'm glad you brought up short and heavy.
Well, you brought it up. I didn't bring it up.
Oh. Well, I brought it up, and I'm glad you mentioned it again. Anyway, okay. Short and heavy. Okay. A 1964 tape-recorded telephone conversation between Markham and attorney Mark Lane. Lane says, quote, "What?" And this is right in the 26 volumes, and the audio is on YouTube. Okay. Lane, "Was he short?" Markham, "He was short. He was short." Was he stocky? Was he a little on the heavy side? Not too heavy, but a little on the heavy side. Was his hair bushy? Just a little bit bushy. A little bit bushy. That is volume 20, pages 573 to 574, 577 to 578. And like I read to you a few moments earlier, Donnie, he also said short and heavy.
Okay, so let's add a fourth witness now. So now we have Warren Reynolds to Walker, Ted Calloway to Summers, Benavides to Mark Lane, and Helen Markham to Mark Lane. All four of these people saw the same man, and now we have different descriptions on whether the guy was short and heavy or not.
They're not different descriptions.
Sure they are. You've already listed the descriptions that all four people gave, and not one of them matched the other.
I can literally keep on going on these descriptions.
You know, Matt, you could give 8 different descriptions, and it's going to be, you could give 8 different witnesses describing the suspect and get 8 different descriptions. Yet you know that all 8 of these people are talking about the same guy. It's irrelevant. The witnesses make mistakes to height, weight, age, hair color.
There's the excuse again, you know.
No, it's not an excuse. It's actually a weak argument. It's a weak argument on your part to pretend like it means anything.
It's not an excuse. These are descriptions by So you want to throw out the words of the eyewitnesses? This is what they describe.
Well, actually, one lady that you're describing says he was short and stocky. It's the same lady that said number 2 was the man I saw shoot the officer.
Nope.
Hey, gentlemen, if I say something, it's kind of becoming a circular argument now.
All right.
No, like I can keep on going with these descriptions. Mary Brock, she told the FBI that the killer was 30, but again, Oswald was 24. Patterson, he told the FBI that he was 30. Lewis said that the guy was 30. Again, Oswald was 24. Virginia Davis told the FBI that the killer wore blue jeans. Oswald wasn't wearing blue jeans. Again, I can literally stop and not go on. All you're doing is proving my case.
Not proving
your case. Nope.
Yes, you are. Every witness saw the same guy, and they're describing him differently. Are you aware, Matt? Are you aware that Barbara Davis and Virginia Davis were standing right beside each other at the screen door, looking out their front yard, watching the man cut across their yard, holding a revolver in his hand? One said the coat was black. One said it was light colored in nature. Are you aware that they were looking at the same guy?
Yes.
Okay, so how can 2 witnesses be looking at the same guy when they're standing right beside each other and be that far apart on the description of the jacket itself? They can certainly be far apart and still be talking about the same guy when it comes to height, weight, hair color, age, and things like that.
Yes.
It's a moot point. It means absolutely nothing, and it's a weak argument on your part.
Yes, so that's like the one exception, because all the witnesses said that the killer was wearing a light jacket, but she's the only one who said it was dark. So that's like the one exception where she describes it differently. But yeah, all these descriptions I gave you from eyewitness testimony, affidavits, everything, day 1 descriptions point to a killer other than Oswald.
No, they don't. It just points to people describing him differently.
Yep.
It points to people. It points to witnesses describing him differently.
Well, then we have to throw out all the eyewitness.
I would like you to address something. I would like you to address something which you haven't really. How do Barbara Davis and Virginia Davis look at the exact same man? One says it's light colored, the other one says it's black jacket. How does that happen?
I just told you.
Is it possible for witnesses to be mistaken about descriptions?
I just told you. We just talked about it.
What did you tell me? What did you tell me regarding those 2 ladies?
I said that's the one. That's like the one exception here, because.
But you're ignoring my point. Matt, you're ignoring my point. These 2 ladies were standing right beside each other. One said it was black. One said it was light. It's the same jacket. That happens. It doesn't mean anything. They weren't talking about 2 different men. One of them was wearing a black jacket. One of them was wearing a light colored jacket. No, they were talking about the same guy. They were standing. They probably were touching shoulders, looking out that screen door at him. One said it was a black jacket. One said it was light colored. It happens. They're talking about the exact same guy. It happens. Witnesses mess that stuff up. It means nothing. And I'm telling you again, your argument is weak to rely on this as one of your selling points.
Are you done?
I want you to address how 2 women. You haven't yet. No, you haven't. You have not addressed it. You've acknowledged that I said it, but you haven't.
Did I address it? Chris, did I address it? I addressed them.
I mean, guys, this is really going circular. Me sitting here listening to it. As far as the jacket goes, as far as the eyewitnesses.
Okay, well, we can move on then. We can move on. I've made my point.
Okay, all I got to say is that I read descriptions of the killer. I could literally keep on going if you want, but we'll stop it here.
You've read descriptions that are different.
Let me finish.
You've read descriptions that are different from one to the next. all of the same guy.
Finish, brother, if I can finish. Okay. Again, to close this topic off, I listed all of the descriptions that the witnesses described the killer, and they do not match Oswald. Okay? And you're saying, well, you know, witnesses can be wrong. That's true. That's true. Just like how you said, one said that the killer was wearing a dark jacket, and one said he was wearing a light jacket. But like, that's the one exception right there, because as I said, I'll repeat it again. She was the only one who said that the killer was wearing a dark jacket. So that's like the one exception, because.
But again, you're not addressing the point. Matt, you're not addressing the point of that exception. The point is the two women were standing beside each other.
The descriptions of day one descriptions. That's the topic. So if I could finish my summation. If we go by your logic, we have to disregard all the witness testimony, because I just listed you all the witness testimony.
My logic, no. My logic is not that we have to dismiss the witness testimony. My logic is that two witnesses can look at the same man in the same jacket and describe it completely different.
I just described that 2 times. I just explained that. I just talked about that.
I'm ready to move on to the next.
Okay, topic. Yeah. Okay, so to close this off in one sentence, yeah, all these descriptions I gave do not match Oswald. I can literally go on. Next topic.
To close this off in one sentence, it's a weak argument to rely on such a thing.
I just read you the testimony.
It means absolutely nothing.